Welcome to the Chronicles of Justin, the first neurological visit. Hi, I'm Justin, and like I said, I'm going to talk about when I first went to my neurologist and what he said. I'm going to go into detail of how my tumor went from full body to how they changed over time and how they worsened. And my eyes just decided to go like blur, so I can't see a thing. So we got the referral to this neurologist and we went. And he saw me, he asked me and my mother some questions about, does he have stress, does he have anxiety? We showed him a video. Because it was the first visit, he was just trying to like get to know who I am. And he prescribed me anxiety medicine because he was thinking that they were not epileptic seizures. He thought that they were stress and anxiety induced, which I do not agree with. He diagnosed me with psychogenic tremors. Well, he was going towards that diagnosis. He didn't diagnose me yet. And he ordered an EEG just to make sure that it wasn't epileptic. So we continued and we waited for a week because we had to wait a week for the EEG. And before I had the EEG, I had a really bad episode at church on Wednesday night. Because at the time, my episodes were triggered by really loud sounds, and sometimes emotions if I got really upset or if I got really angry, it would trigger an episode to happen. But loud sounds also trigger them. So every time I would go to church, I would usually end up in the ER. Bad decision on my part, but God have that Jesus. But there was this one night in particular. It was the night before my EEG, and it wasn't localized in my leg like it always was. It was localized like neck and upper torso, and it was just a jerk. Over and 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 over. And so it was awful because, well, one, it gave me a freaking headache. And if you've ever shaken your head for more than like a minute, you know how bad of a headache you get. This happened for like about 2.5 hours of me shaking my head. I was dying inside. Well, my head was dying inside. It was going to explode. Anyway. Sorry. But that continued on, and I didn't know if I could take my seizure medication trying to slow it down, because the neurologist, because he thought it was psychogenic, he prescribed Boostpar, which is a, did I just say Boostpar? Like Boostpar. He prescribed Boostpar. No, he prescribed Boostpar, and it's an anxiety medicine. Only to treat anxiety, not like, and it doesn't have like the side effects that other anxiety medicines have, so that's good. One big problem was I felt more anxious after I started taking the Boostpar than before. So that was like a slight problem. It was slightly problematic. Like, just didn't really do what it was supposed to do. But I didn't know if I could mix them, and so my mom and I drove around trying to distract me. Well, my mom drove. I can't drive. I couldn't even like look at a billboard and tell you that there was a face on it. Okay. And so the next day I went to went to the EEG, and I was having an episode through the whole EEG, and it was awful because they don't really think it through, and they put the bed right next to the wall. And my tremors are localized in my leg. Well, today it was localized in my leg and my upper torso. And so because the bed was to the wall, my foot was hitting the wall. So through the whole EEG, which was like an hour long, I was hitting the wall. Like, come on now. Think a little bit. I was too big for the bed, but still, just like move it out just a little bit so that I'm not hitting the wall and disturbing like the whole building, you know? So whatever. A few weeks later, we get called back in, and he's like, okay, it's non-epileptic, like I expected, and it's psychogenic. Hi, Kathy. Okay. It's not psychogenic, and okay, here you go. You need to see a psychiatrist. We asked him, can you tell us like where to find a psychiatrist? Nope, I have no one to refer you to. Oh. Okay. So we had nothing. We had a diagnosis of psychogenic tremors, and that we needed to go to counseling, see a therapist, and a psychiatrist. And we found a psychiatrist. So we went up to see the psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist like asked me all these questions, and it's like, okay, I don't think it's psychogenic. There's not enough stress and anxiety in your life to be causing this. And I agree with him. The boost car was making me anxious, actually. Like I said, it wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing. It was doing the opposite. It was making me more anxious than I have ever been in my life. And so I stopped the boost bar because I was like, this isn't helping. And since I've stopped, I haven't been really anxious at all. So that's good. But yeah, the psychiatrist was like, yeah, I don't think it's psychogenic. So then we're like, okay, we get diagnosed with psychogenic tremors, and then we get diagnosed with not psychogenic tremors. Great. As these doctor's appointments were like stacking up, and like as I was seeing all these people, my tremors were getting worse and worse. The first progression of my body tremor was it started getting localized in my chest and then my whole body, you know. It wasn't just my leg. I talked about that. And then I started having like a rolling shake, as my mom calls it. I don't know why she calls it a rolling shake, but it's just constant movement of my leg, where my leg is just like constantly like shaking up and down, up and down, up and down. And then I would just have violent tics while that's happening, and that was kind of constant. And then throughout these times I'm looking for neurologists, I'm looking for referrals, looking for psychiatrists, looking for specialists, trying to find something, which is really hard, mostly where I live, because it's just, there's no one. It's really difficult, actually. The next progression was my eyes started to move. I was in a dentist appointment, and the dentist was over. I think it was just a cleaning, and I don't really know. And so it was over, and I was just like, I was sitting there, and my eyes just start like going back and forth. They start slow, but then they started going really fast, and I didn't really know. I couldn't stop them, and then I was like, that was weird, and I stood up, and then I almost like collapsed onto the wall. It was kind of an issue, just slightly an issue, but just a little bit. Then my eyes started doing more and more, where they would go in all directions, and then at some point they would go just straight into the back of my head, where they would just, And that was when it was like getting really serious, and that was towards the end when it started getting really bad, and when we really started pressing and looking for more neurologists, because, well, throughout this whole time I've been going to the hospital multiple times, to the ER, anytime something new happened, anytime it got really bad. When something's going on in your life and you just don't know what is causing it, it can put a lot of pressures on everyone in the situation. It can cause a lot of irritability. I know during this time, I was just so irritable. Like I took it, I was taking it really well and with good attitude, because I was like, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to not let this affect my life. And I still have that attitude, because I'm not going to let it affect my life. I'm still going to go with my goals. I'm still wanting to be a molecular biologist. I'm still wanting to do research. I'm going to continue doing that. Kind of get irritable and just go off on something. It's random. And I know in those stressful situations, it's hard to control and hard to see it from the outside. But it's so important to understand that the situation is causing you to act irritable. It's so important to understand that that situation is causing friction with other people. Because if I didn't notice that beforehand, I couldn't stop it. Or put under stress from this situation causing something, and you don't know what to do, and you don't know what's causing it to happen. It's really difficult, and it can cause you to act in ways that you normally wouldn't. So that was my first psychiatrist visit and neurological visit, all smashed into one, plus bonus, the progression of my tremors and my new symptoms that I was showing. I will see you guys later. Bye.